Hello and welcome to Content with Abby. Today we're diving deep into an ancient tale of rhythm, magic, and courage. When Esi and her brother Kojo finally returned to their home, Kuntaa village, something felt terribly wrong. The very air was heavy, thick with an unspoken dread. In the distance, the familiar beat of the village drums was gone, replaced by a strange offbeat rhythm that made their skin crawl. The usually bustling paths were quiet, and people they passed spoke only in hushed, fearful whispers. Their grandmother, Mama Abina, leaned heavily on her walking stick, her wise old eyes clouded with concern. "Something evil walks before us. Children," she rasped, her voice trembling slightly. The village feels sick. As they stepped into the central market, the scene was one of utter desolation. It was completely empty. Clay pots lay shattered on the ground, cooking fires had long gone cold, and even the usually noisy goats were nowhere to be seen. It was as if the life had been drained from the heart of their home. Kojo's brow furrowed in confusion. "Where is everyone?" He wondered aloud, and then they heard it a drumming that grew louder and more intense with each passing second. It was fast, wild, and filled with a raw, angry energy. Dum-dum-dum-dum. The sound pulsed through the earth, a malevolent heartbeat. Esi instinctively clutched her own instrument, a beautiful drum crafted with inlaid gold. "That rhythm," she whispered, her eyes wide with alarm. "It doesn't belong to anyone from here." Drawn by the hypnotic, terrifying beat, they followed the sound to the village square. A large crowd was gathered, but this was no celebration. In the center of the circle stood their chief, Kuntaa. His eyes glowed with a faint crimson light, and his hands were raw and bleeding as he struck a sinister-looking black drum with frantic intensity. The villagers clapped along, but their faces were masks of fear, not joy. Their bodies moved stiffly, unnaturally, as if they were puppets being controlled by an unseen force. Esi gasped, a horrifying realization dawning on her. He found another drum. Mama Abina's voice was a low, urgent whisper beside her. "That's not just a drum, child. That's the shadow drum. It feeds on fear." Gathering her courage, Esi stepped forward, her voice ringing out clearly over the chaotic rhythm. "Chief Kuntaa, stop this." He turned his head slowly, and when he spoke, his voice was a grotesque chorus of two voices speaking at once, his own and something much older and darker. "You woke the ancestors, girl. Now they will dance forever." Kojo, enraged, shouted from beside her, "You're not the chief anymore. You're a monster." Kwabena let out a chilling laugh that echoed unnaturally in the square. "I am more than a man now," he boomed. "I am the rhythm that never dies." The black drum thumped louder, harder. The very ground began to tremble and crack beneath their feet. Dark, oily smoke rose from the fissures, swirling and twisting into horrifying shapes that looked like angry, tormented spirits. The villagers shrieked in terror. Seeing the chaos unfold, Mama Abina closed her eyes and began to chant an old sacred prayer. a melody of protection passed down through generations. Esi, inspired by her grandmother's faith, joined her. She lifted her gold drum and began to play, her rhythm soft and gentle da-dum. It was a calm, pure sound, filled with light and hope. The two sounds clashed in the air. Kwabina's dark, frantic beat against Esi's gentle, steady one. The villagers screamed as the air around them seemed to twist and tear. The energy was immense, a battle of sound and spirit. Suddenly, a brilliant light erupted from Esi's gold drum. It pulsed with warmth and power. "Kojono," she yelled, her voice cutting through the noise. Without hesitation, Kojo raised his own red drum and struck it with all his might. The two pure rhythms seized gold and Kojo's red merged, weaving together to form one strong, unwavering heartbeat. Dum-da-dum. It was the sound of unity, the rhythm of Kuntaa village's true soul. The dark smoke hissed and recoiled as if struck. A long spiderweb crack appeared on the surface of the black drum, but Kwabina didn't stop. He kept drumming, his face a mask of fury and desperation. Then, with a final deafening shrieker sound, like thunder and 1,000 cries of pain mixed together, the black drum exploded. The ground beneath Kwabina split wide open, forming a dark chasm that swallowed both the chief and the remnants of his cursed instrument. And then, silence. The villagers collapsed to the ground, gasping for air as if waking from a long, suffocating nightmare. The red glow faded from the sky, and the sun broke through the clouds. Mama Abina placed a gentle hand on Esi's shoulder. "You did well, child," she said, her voice filled with relief and pride. "But the shadow doesn't die, only hides." Esi nodded slowly, the weight of her grandmother's words settling upon her. "Then we'll keep playing the true rhythm," she declared, her voice firm. But that night, as the village slept peacefully for the first time in days, Esi's dreams were troubled. She saw the forest floor, where the black drum lay shattered, but its broken pieces were not still. They moved, crawling like dark insects, inching their way toward the river. A voice, cold and sinister, whispered in the darkness of her mind. "Every beat has an echo, Esi of Kuntaa, and echoes always find their way back." She woke up in a cold sweat, her heart pounding. Beside her bed, her gold drum was trembling, vibrating with a faint, anxious energy. The next morning, the first rays of sunlight did little to dispel the chill of her dream. She found Kojo by the river and told him everything. "It wasn't just a dream, Kojo. The shadow is still alive. It's trying to reform." Kojo's usual cheerful expression was replaced by a grim frown. "Then we have to stop it. We have to find it before it grows strong again." Mama Abina, who had overheard them, nodded solemnly. "There is one who may be able to help the silent drummer of Niame Hills. He is a hermit of great power who guards the last secret rhythm, the one that can bring true balance." Without wasting another moment, they packed food, water, and their drums. They left Kuntaa village before the sun had fully risen. heading toward the misty peaks of the Niam Hills. The path was steep and treacherous, winding through a dense forest shrouded in a perpetual mist. Strange sounds followed them, the snap of a twig, a soft footstep, but whenever they turned, no one was there. As sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, they finally reached the hilltop. There, sitting cross-legged beside a large ancient drum made of stone, was an old man. Esi bowed respectfully. "Grandfather," she said softly, "we have come seeking your help." The old man didn't open his eyes, but his voice, when he spoke, was like the rustling of old leaves. Help comes only to those who understand silence. Esi frowned in confusion. Silence. What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments below.